Hi all, in this lab, let us understand how to authenticate API gateway request for a given endpoint using IAM. Okay, IAM is one of the most powerful way to authenticate API request. Okay, now let us understand how to do that. So we have one API gateway which is implemented as a REST API as a regional endpoint. Okay, and we have created one resource called real estate, and the backend is Lambda. Now, when the client sends a request, first the client has to sign the request using the SIG v4 algorithm. Okay, so any request which comes to API gateway has to be signed first, and the signature has to be sent along with the request. Okay, and that request signature will be validated by API gateway with the IAM service. Only when IAM service validates the request for authentication, then the request goes further in terms of reaching the backend for the processing. Once the backend responds, the response will be sent back to the client. Okay, so this is the end-to-end architecture that we're going to implement in the lab. Let's go to the source code. So in this lab, let us understand how to implement IAM-based authentication authorization for the API gateway. Okay, now if we go to the API gateway.tf file, so this is the top level API, which is the REST API with the regional endpoint we are creating it. Now here we will be using one resource called real estate. Okay, now let's follow this code for all of this configuration. Now if I look at the method configuration, we are using authorization as IAM. Okay, then the integration is straightforward. We are not using any transformation, and here we are using Lambda, which is implementing the backend logic. And the integration response is also straightforward. We are not making any changes there. And so this is the integration response. Now the method response is also straightforward. Method response is a 200 status code, and the response model is empty. Okay, so this is simple code, and apart from that, we also have to configure one IAM role. So let's go to that directly. So this is the API gateway invoke trust policy. So that means any IAM principal can assume this role. So this is the IAM role we are creating, and so this is a permission, right? Invoke is the API that is permitted on this service, and the resource name is this. So that means um, if I look at this, so let me, for example, put an enter just to show it. So real estate is the API that we are using as the specific resource. It's a very granular permission. Okay. Now let us go to the terminal and implement, run the Terraform init plan and apply. I've already done that. Now let's go to the source code and see, console and see how it looks like. Okay. So we are in the console, and this is the API that I'm talking about. Now here the authorization is IAM. Okay, the rest of the configuration is straightforward. Integration request, we are using Lambda, and integration response, the template is empty. So in the integration request, if you see, so these are the recommended options. Lambda proxy integration is false, and integration type is Lambda, and this is the Lambda that we are invoking. Integration response, the default configuration. Template mapping is also nil. Method response is also we are using empty. Okay. Now let us go to the terminal and see how to test this. Okay. So to test this, we have to first sign the request. Okay, with a SIG v4. So first we are calling this um, command to get the IAM role ARN, and then we are um, calling assume role. So we need to get the temporary credentials from IAM service for this role, and I'm just outputting that into a file. Okay, for example, if I go to um, into this folder sigv4.json file, this is a temporary credentials valid only for 15 minutes. Okay, and then I'm extracting the key access key, secret key, and the token from this file, and I'm just outputting these variables just to check. And now I'm calling Python 3 sigv4 slash sigv4.py. So if I go to the source code for this Python script, so it is basically constructing a curl URL with a signature. So this is a method name, and this is a service name, this is a region, this is the host path, and this endpoint, this is a slash dev. Dev is the stage, real state is the endpoint, application JSON is the format, this is the access key, secret key, and token. Now, if you look at this code, we are getting the timestamps, then some canonical URLs we are creating it, step 1, and we are just adding these headers, and we also have to provide assigned headers, and there's a payload hash that we are creating using it because it's a empty string, because it's a get request, and canonical request, I'm just attaching all of this. Okay, now this is the algorithm. This is where I'm actually creating the string to sign. So this is signing key, I'm creating it. This is actual signature, I'm sending it. This authorization header. So this algorithm and access key, the credential scope, signature headers, all of that I'm sending it. I'm also attaching a signature to this code. So let me just enter here to see the entire line here. So this is a signature, I'm adding it. These are the headers. Okay, in the headers I'm passing authorization header and date token, the secure token that we got from IAM, and print URL. Okay, so let me run this to show how it looks like. Now if I run the Python uh, 3 script, so this is the URL I'm getting as a part of the output from the Python. So here I'm running this URL. Okay, so from the Python output I got this, and I'm running this URL on the terminal. Now this is the response I'm getting, HTTP response code 200, and the headers and the response. So this response is coming from Lambda. Okay, so basically what is happening is we are signing the request to the API gateway endpoint using the sigv4, using this Python script, and this signature is validated in the backend using IAM service by API gateway. API gateway will talk to the IAM service to validate signature, and then only the backend, which is a Lambda, will be called and the response is sent. Okay, so this is how we can use IAM as one of the authentication method to validate the to provide the credentials for the API. Okay.